I'm Julie and welcome to my kitchen. I spent a decade on air in Chicago sports radio and another 2 decades as a culinary trained pastry chef. And now I'm trying to match my 2 passions by talking sports with you while I teach you some wonderful culinary treats. Today, in advance of the Bears and Vikings starting out on Monday Night Football, I'm going to be showing you something that pays homage to the Bears quarterback, Caleb Williams. When he was drafted, and in subsequent press conferences, he would end his press conferences with the bear claw. So that's what we're going to be making today. There are people around Soldier Field who might tell you it's a cookie. It's not, it's a pastry, and that's where we're going to start today. We are using puff pastry dough. You can buy it in the freezer section of your grocery store. It comes pre-floured, but just in case the board gets sticky, I do have a little bit of flour here I can sprinkle in. But this consistency is going to work for us perfectly. I'm going to take the rolling pin, roll it out just a smidge so that I've got it a little bit bigger and a little bit thinner. We're going to go just a couple rolls each way. And then I'm going to use this handy dandy little cutter I have here. I primarily use it when I'm doing cake decorating for fondant. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to extend the wheel, lock it in place so it doesn't move on me. I'm going to cut this into 6 rectangles, 1 down the middle, and then a couple going crossways. And this is going to be the base for our bear claws. Now what I've created in my mixing bowl over here is a mixture of almond paste, sugar, egg, a little bit of flour, and I'm going to put some of this in a pastry bag so that we get a nice even filling. And we'll do more in upcoming episodes with piping and pastry bags, because as a pastry chef, I'm pretty good at that. So we've got our bag filled with some almond cream. I'm going to cut off the tip, and then we're ready to go. So the first thing is I have an egg wash here, which is just a slightly scrambled egg with a little bit of water added. And we're going to use that with a pastry brush. This is our glue that we're going to be using to help the dough come together. And as we're doing this, we're going to think a little bit about this Bears offensive line that has to come together. They're going to be looking to Caleb Williams to be the glue for this offense. The Bears building up their interior offensive line in the offseason via trades and free agency so that they've got some added interior strength, and we're going to have some interior filling coming your way right now. Caleb Williams wound up on his butt more than any quarterback in the NFL last year. He probably wishes he had a nice little pillow to cushion his fall. We're doing a little pillow of filling here. And as you can see, I've got it on 1/2 of each rectangle. I'm going to fold it over, and that egg wash is going to act as the glue to keep our dough together. And we're going to pinch down a little bit just to keep it sealed. I'm going to repeat that with the other 3. Back to our egg wash here, our glue. We're gonna spread it around the edges again. I'm thinking like edge rusher, a guy like Montez Sweat, sealing off the edge there. And again, this is just to make sure our dough is nice and sticky to seal it together. You wanna work kind of fast because it will dry. And again, we're going to go back to our bag with our filling here. You go with what works, right? So once the Bears get rolling on Monday Night Football, if they've got the passing game working, you stick with it. If you've got the running game working, you stick with it. But we just want to see consistency from Caleb Williams. Kind of like we want consistency in our 6 rectangles here. So now that they're sealed, you can pinch them closed several different ways. I can use 2 fingers, like I'm pinching a pie crust, like that. I can use a fork to seal it like this. And again, just like our bears, we want to seal gaps. We don't want anyone coming through to touch our quarterback. You can also do a little bit fancier one where you're kind of pushing your knuckles like you would make an apple pie crust. So we've got 3 that are sealed. And then we're going to take a sharp knife just like this. And we're going to want to cut 4 slits in each one. They don't have to be perfect. We're going to cut 4 in each. And then we're going to curve these just like that. And then we're going to go back to our friend the egg wash. This is going to be our glue again. And you're going to want to drench the top in the egg wash because we want it to be nice and shiny and nice golden brown. But we also want it to keep our toppings on there, which we're going to get to in a second here. So hope springs eternal for Chicago sports fans, and this is the one everybody agrees on. Cubs and Sox fans are split, but everybody in Chicago is a Bears fan, except for those few sneaky Packer fans that somehow slipped across the border. But hopefully Monday night, Soldier Field will be packed with Bears fans, and hopefully they will be treated to a victory. All right, as for our treat here, everything has that nice glue on the top. I'm gonna grab some almonds. I have toasted slivered almonds. You want them toasted, you can buy them that way. You can either sprinkle them on whole like this, or you can kind of crumble them and get more of a crushed almond. And this is pretty much the consistency of a bear claw, is that it's got almonds in the glaze, it's got almonds on top, and it's got the almond paste in the middle. I also have a very coarse sugar that's combined with cinnamon. And we're going to sprinkle that over the top. You don't want to put that on first because then your almonds will not stick. All right, so once we've got that ready to go, we're going to put these on a sheet pan that has parchment paper. And that's to keep them from sticking. You can do a little bit more here. This is also what makes it smell so good when it's baking. All right, so now that we've got these ready to go, I'm gonna grab my bake pan. This has the parchment paper on it. And I'm just gonna gently lift these off. You can use a spatula, but like I said, they're not sticking too badly. So we'll be able to get them on here just like that. We have our oven preheated to 400. We're gonna pop these in the oven right now. And they're gonna stay in there for about 15 minutes. So about a quarter's worth of football in the oven. I'm gonna wipe off a little bit of this stickiness, and then we're gonna move on to some finishing moves. And again, our guy Caleb Williams is the one who inspired this with his bear claw. And he's gonna be the one everybody in Chicago is watching for Monday Night Football. And what I have here, I have a glaze, which is just powdered sugar, water, and I put a little almond extract in it. You could put this in a piping bag. I am just using a fork, which is nice and easy. We're gonna move these guys out of the way so we can bring in some finished product. These are ones that came out of the oven a short while ago. So we're gonna grab a couple of these guys. If it seeps out like that, if you get a little almond paste coming out, those are just chef's snacks for you to sample on before your guests or your friends or family start digging into these delicious treats. What I'm taking here is the fork, and I'm just drizzling like this. Makes it look a little fancier and a little bit sweeter. And like I said, we bring some of that almond taste back into it as well. And if you really want to be super anal retentive about it, you can make these goal lines. Hopefully the Bears will be crossing the goal line quite a bit. You know, we saw a lot of great football on Sunday to open week 1. We're hoping the Bears can continue that trend. Yeah, I see you Vikings. I know, big NFC North matchup, but I think Bears fans are feeling pretty good. So that's what we have for our finished bear claws. I'm just gonna lift those right off our tray, put them on a plate here. And you don't have to share them with anybody. You can just save these all for yourself. But for those Bears Sunday noon kickoffs in the future, these make an excellent early in the day snack for those of you looking for something that's kind of breakfast or brunchish for an earlier game. That being said, for our Monday Night Football game, we're gonna have these as possibly a dessert, hopefully a celebration treat, and again, as Caleb Williams would say, go Bears.